Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Time now to start taking all of your stock related queries. And the first one, Kunal, that we have is coming in from Suresh, writing to us from Ludhiana. In fact, he's asking about BEL, wants to know if you have any entry price in mind when it comes to this particular stock. He's looking at a long-term horizon, hasn't specified what he means by long-term, but nonetheless, what do you think about this one then?
Yeah, it's a good chart to have as part of your long-term portfolio. Now, in terms of entry point, in this kind of a market, of course, it becomes very difficult to try and come out with a precise entry zone for the stock. But then when we look at this in the historical context, I think closer to 255, 260 range for BEL has been a very good support point for the stock. Even in the recent past, I think just about in the month of October, November, the stock managed to make a low of 257, and from there it managed to bounce back, which means that this 250 260 band for BEL is a good territory where you can look to start buying as well as accumulating from a long-term play.
So that's the view. That's the view coming in on BEL. Gaurang, coming to you now. We have a viewer S. Manjunath writing to us, who's a senior citizen from Bangalore. He is thoroughly confused about the way the market is behaving right now. And he's saying in this falling market, which of these stocks could be a best buy for a 3-year period? And he's given you options as well. So pick from these options only. He's saying Ola Electric, Jio Financial Services, NTPC Green, RVNL and Cochin Shipyard. Out of these, if you had to pick one or pick a few for a 3-year time frame, what would your view be?
If I got the names right, I don't know. It's going to be very difficult because we mentioned in our market outlook for the calendar year 2025 that it's going to be a difficult and challenging time. However, if you have the capability and capacity of identifying the right stocks and the sectors and stocks, you may end up a little bit more than what the Sensex and Nifty would deliver. Having said that, Cochin Shipyard, defense related, we have a buy recommendation. NTPC Green, we had covered an IPO note on NTPC Green. That looks pretty, promising investment idea from a long-term point of view. Expect the Honorable Finance Minister to do a little bit more on the budget day, that is 1st of Feb. I'm sorry, I missed out the other name. Can you please repeat it for me, please? Thank you.
Jio Financial Services and RVNL are the three other names that our viewer has sent across.
Ola, Geo Finance, of course, I would say this is also a good investment idea. On others, I will not be in a position to give you a buy, sell and hold since we don't have a coverage. But Ola Electric we covered in the IPO. Unfortunately, there are a lot of problems and headwinds for Ola Electric. So I think Geo, NTPC Green, and Cochin Shipyard, these would be better picks.
And so there you have it. Those are Gaurang's picks coming in this morning then. But Kunal, I'm going to come back to you and let's keep it going with Motown then, because we do have OSN Reddy writing to us from Hyderabad. In fact, he wants to know about the 20 shares of Hero MotoCorp that he's holding on to. Buy price is 4,700. He wants to know if he should average at this point. So Kunal, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I think you can look to start averaging the stock at current levels, because for the third time, I think on a last 3-month basis, the stock is making a very similar kind of a bottom in terms of the RSI. Now that could be maybe another 40-50 points away, but I'm not sure whether if in case the market gets into a slight recovery phase like what we've seen on an intraday basis, you might probably get that 40-50 points on an immediate basis. So I think at current levels of 4,000, 4,050 thereabouts for Hero MotoCorp, this could be a good territory where you can look to start averaging, and so that you can bring your cost price lower, and the chance of a recovery for the stock to come back to at least the midpoint of your renewed buy price, I think that could be pretty much on the higher side on the short-term play.
Okay, so time to start averaging. Good price to average Hero Motor. That's the call coming in from Kunal right now. Gaurang, coming to you. We have our viewer Mohit writing to us from Ludhiana. He's got 500 shares of Coal India at a buy price of 152 rupees per share. His time horizon is 2 years. Please guide what he should be doing going ahead. Time to sell. Should he continue to hold on to this, or because he has made quite a significant profit. So what's the outlook going ahead?
Well, I think this company has a good payout ratio as well, in terms of yield. And payout ratio is also something that we consider when we do fundamental analysis on a particular company. Having said that, as a disclosure, we have a positive coverage on Coal India. However, let me say this, the company is into mining of coal. It has got one of the largest reserves of natural coal in the world. We expect the earnings to improve as we go into the future. Targets, if you ask me, rather aggressive targets, somewhere close to about 580 to 590. But if you invest into capital goods engineering, mining, defense, you need to have at least 2.5, 3 or plus. So if you have that kind of liberty to extend the time horizon, I think you should do that. But hold on.
Alright, and that's a take coming in. As far as Coal India then is concerned, we also have Nikhil Sharma writing to us from Mumbai. Kunal wants to know about Infosys because he's holding on to 10 shares. Buy price was 1,974 rupees. Should he go ahead and book profits or hold on for the long term? What do you think?
See, if it's a short-term trade, then the stock is just about that 1970-75 mark, thereabouts to your cost price. Maybe I think closer to the recovery into the IT stocks, and if the markets recover, you might probably expect the stock to come closer to 2000 odd levels from a short-term play. But that could be just about more of a trading bet for a stock like Infosys. I think we've seen the IT stocks doing exceptionally well over the last three months, 6 months, as well as the last 1.5 odd year kind of a time frame. So I think in that aspect there should be more upside into the stock price. But my only concern would be that in case if the markets get into a further leg of correction, then there could be chance like stock like Infosys or maybe the other larger cap names on the IT pack, even they could see some bit of profit booking. So it all depends on what your time frame is, whether it's short term or whether it's long term.
Okay, so that's a take on Infosys. Kunal, let's keep it going with you because the next question also is slightly technical in nature. Our viewer Satya is writing to ask, he's writing to us and he's asking if Grasim and JSW Infra can be added for 1 year time frame at the current market price. If not right now, what would be a good entry level? And in fact, he's asked this question to both Kunal and Gaurang. So Gaurang, he's also expecting a fundamental view from you on both of these stocks, Grasim and JSW Infra. Kunal, you go first on the charts.
So I'll start with JSW Infra. That's a chart which, if you're looking at an entry point, classical entry point, then I think 290 is where the multi-month support is for the stock. That's the first zone where the stock had filled a gap. It's currently just around the 300 mark, which means 290 could be a good starting point for you if you're looking to enter JSW Infra. And for the other stock which you mentioned was Grasim. That stock has again come back towards a multi-week, multi-month low. I think if I'm not wrong, it's almost like a 6 or a 7 month low for Grasim at current levels of 2300. There could be a probability that the stock may actually dip down sub the 2200 mark. So 2170 to 2220 could be a good range for you to accumulate Grasim.
Alright, then that's a take coming in. As far as Grasim and JSW Infra then are concerned, Gaurang, I'm going to come right back to you because Jay is writing to us from Mumbai, wants to know about Sona BLW. In fact, 500 shares at a buy price of 650 that he bought with a long-term horizon in mind. But what do you make of this counter?
Well, rather an underperformer from the auto ancillary OEM segment, don't have a standalone coverage, but if your view is that auto sector is going to do well, so your view has to be that auto ancillary, tire and battery manufacturing companies will also contribute because that's the entire universe of auto sector. Our coverage as far as auto ancillary is concerned, our sense is that CIE Automotive or Uno Minda, these two could be a better investment idea.
Okay, so that's the take on Sona BLW coming in once again, but we'll slip into a very short break. Viewers, keep writing to us on the number flashing on top of your screen. We've started addressing all your queries. Keep them coming and we'll take it with both our experts just on the other side of the short break. Viewer queries and Gaurang, coming to you for our next query. Our viewer Ram from Hyderabad is writing to us. He has 170 shares of PCBL Philip Carbon and at an average price of 263 rupees. He's holding for the long term. He's bought these shares 18 months ago, and well, yeah, this is an earnings candidate. He's also saying that after bad results, can I continue to hold this stock for the long term? Is it just one bad quarter, one set of poor numbers coming in, or do you think this is going to be the story for a few more quarters coming ahead? Because just today, this stock is low by 7% on the back of a poor set of quarter 3 numbers coming in.
So honestly, I think earnings is going to be something difficult for us to expect in terms of improvement for PCBL. Let me say this, we don't have a standalone coverage on PCBL, but the stock has been hitting the lower side on fallback of unfortunate, unable to deliver the earnings. If you ask me, I think there are better opportunities in terms of sectorial investment themes. And one more theme that we expect the budget to focus on is power generation. And over there, if I have to identify one investment opportunity, then that's going to be Tata Power. This stock also corrected thanks to the correction in the market. But from these levels, we believe Tata Power is going to be a great investment idea from a long-term point of view. So if you think this stock is hurting you in terms of the deterioration of capital, then I think you should take remedial steps. And alternative investment idea could be Tata Power.
There you go. So instead of PCBL, look towards Tata Power. That's the take coming in from Gaurang as well. But the next one that we have, Kunal, is coming in on Trent, because we do have Suresh Babu from Tirupati, who's invested into an SIP into the stock for nearly 2 years thereabout. Now his buy price is 6,300 rupees and he's purchased 70 shares. So what do you make of Trent then?
So I'm assuming that you're looking to buy a smaller quantity of the stocks on an SIP basis. The stock at current levels of 6,280 is placed at a very precarious kind of a mode, because there are two important aspects about the charts for Trend. On the short-term charts, the stock has come back to the previous lows of 6,200, which was hit in the month of November 2024 for Trend. The stock from there bounced off to almost 7,200, 300 levels, which means that that's a very, very strong support level for the stock. So it's almost like a 1% above this key support zone. And the second, the more important one, is the 200 DMA, which for Trend is almost around the 6,050, 6,030 mark on the spot levels, which means that the stock is at a very strong support territory as of now. But then, in case if the support breaks, then we may probably expect that the stock may continue to correct much more sharper manner. So, I would suggest that continue to have the SIP mode, but I think if in case the stock breaks below this key support level, then potentially you may see the stock falling a bit more sharper over the very short term before it resumes, some sort of recovery as well as gets back into a trending mode.
Okay, that's the take on Trent coming in on the technicals. Moving on, Gaurang, coming to you, our viewer Vignesh from Bangalore is writing to us. He's asking, would now be a good point to enter into CESE as well as SAMIL? Now, CESE is an earnings candidate. We've had the numbers coming in on Friday. It's been a mixed bag, but the stock is falling today, and for the last 3 months, although the stock has been quite under pressure. Would now be a good time to get into CESE and SAMIL? What's your view?
Well, I think the more important you should give is how much time you can give to the market rather than timing the market or trying to time the price of your investment theme. So, like I mentioned, we expect the Honorable Finance Minister to be, excuse me, more tilted towards power generation and having a decent budgetary allocation. I highlighted one investment idea is Tata Power. CESC is also one of the stocks that features in our positive list on the buy side. So if you have long-term investment idea, you should definitely go ahead and invest. If you're concerned about whether this is the right time or the right price, stagger your investment. Rather than waiting for the right price and right time, I think you should at least make a small beginning, and then on dips you can go on adding to it.
Alright, then don't try to time the market, and that's the take coming in as far as Gaurang is concerned when it comes to CESE specifically. Kunal, we also have Venkatesh writing to us from Indonesia, wants to know if he can invest into an SIP when it comes to Bank of Maharashtra for the next 1 year monthly for just about 200 shares. That is what he's keeping in mind. When it comes to Bank of Maharashtra, what do you make of this then?
I'm not sure whether this is the only stock which you're looking out for, but I would suggest that it's better that you switch towards a formidable larger cap name. So you can probably choose either SBI. You can also look out for Bank of Baroda as well as maybe PNB or Can Bank, either of these names. Because I think that the first degree of recovery, wherever it happens for the PSU banking stocks, should happen into these larger cap formidable names. And I think when we've seen that in market corrections also, that sticking to large cap names generally acts as more of a shield towards portfolio, as well as the CAGR returns for these stocks on a historical basis has also been much above the average towards the entire sector. So I would believe that sticking to large cap names, even from the PSU banking stocks or a sector as such, could be a better strategy.
Okay, Okay, so that's what you should be doing instead of this stock. But Gaurang, coming to you, viewer Ravi from Chennai is writing to us. HCL Tech he is holding at 1,268 rupees per share. ICICI at 943 rupees per share. He specified he holds 200 shares of ICICI, not specified the quantity for HCL Tech. He's asking, can he buy another stock or should he continue to add into HCL Tech or ICICI for the long term? HCL Tech numbers today, previews are looking rather promising. What's your take?
Well, I also expect the company to do well. And after what we saw last week on TCS, right? And HCL Tech has the ability of consistency in terms of delivery of numbers. Since numbers are going to be out, I don't want to make any forward-looking statements, but on the fundamental side, I think it is one of the strongest investment ideas among the frontline IT pack. I mean, I will definitely recommend investing into HCL Tech. ICICI Bank also, if not this week, then next week, I believe the numbers are going to be out. Both of them are very strong candidates within their sectorial universe. Even ICICI Bank is one of the banks, private sector banks, which has been very stable in terms of delivery of numbers. Hold on, and if you want to add on to it, well, don't go and average 100% of whatever you hold, but definitely average 50-60%. And on dips, since the market is not going anywhere, when you get opportunities at lower levels, you can continue to add to it.
Then we have a lot of queries pouring in when it comes to some of these banking names. But before we continue with those queries, then let's give that sector a break and take a look at Ercon. Kunal, because Vijay Kirti is writing to us from Chennai, wants to know about the 1,000 shares that they're holding on to at a buy price of 233 rupees. So what do you make of this one also?
So yeah, again a chart which is weakened out, and I think over the last 6-8 months we've seen many of the railway names falling quite sharply from 350 levels. The stock is almost halved towards 180, 185 in levels thereabouts where the stock is trading right now. So, but it still looks like that maybe the stock over the very near term could see some bit of more corrective wave. I would suggest that if in case there's a sudden correction or a quick correction of closer to 170, 175 mark for Ircon, that could be a point where you may look to average so that you can bring your cost price lower. I think at those levels of 175, the stock would almost be at a divergence of more than 30 to 40% from its 200-day moving average. So the recovery from those levels, just as a mean reversion play, could also be much on the sharper side. So I would suggest that you should look to average the stock in case if it dips down sub 175 mark.
Okay, so average the stock is the take coming in from Ercon International. Let's talk about the next query. Gaurang, coming to you, we have Deepika from Bombay writing to us, holds 25 shares of SBI at a price of 360. She says that she's seeing continuous downward movement when it comes to this stock. She's asking if she should completely book profits and forget about the stock, or would now be a good time to book profit, get out, wait for the stock to fall a little and then buy again on dips, completely exit and then re-enter again, or exit and not do anything about it, or average or hold. What is your strategy when it comes to SBI?
Well, honestly, in stock market, either you are a trader or an investor. You can't be both. You can't be sitting on a fence. At least that's what my view is. And in doing this, selling and buying, one day you may end up, totally exiting the stock and then not getting an opportunity to buy it back because the stock would have rallied much above the price that we would have sold. So on the fundamental side, I think prudent to give a disclosure. We have a positive coverage on State Bank of India. And our sense is that like in second quarter, wherein some strong public sector banks deliver very good set of numbers, we expect this to replicate in the third quarter as well. 930 approximately is the target on State Bank of India from a long-term point of view on the fundamental side. And you have a small quantity of your investment. My humble request is that instead of thinking of selling the stock at these levels or maybe closer to 700, you can think of adding on to the stock rather than exiting the stock.
Alright, then that's a take coming in as far as SBI is concerned. The next one that we have, Kunal, is Godrej Properties. Of course, the company has also launched the first project in Hyderabad as well, booking value potential of 1,300 crores as well. That's the latest foray that we had in terms of news flow coming in for the stock. But when you take a look at Godrej Properties today, it's taking it on the chin. And we do have Jay Krishnan writing to us from Kerala, wants to know about this particular counter, invested at a buy price of 2,916 rupees. Hasn't mentioned the quantity that they're holding on to, but what do you make of this stock nonetheless?
Yeah, again, a stock which has been falling very sharply over the last 1 week or so. I think in the last 1 week the stock has corrected some 500 to 600 points, which is a good 15-20% for the stock. And looking at the beta of the sector as well as the stock, I would probably expect that the stock could drag a bit more. So what could happen is initially you might see the stock getting into a recovery phase. The recovery could last for the stock to maybe come back towards 2500 mark, 2600 zone, but then eventually these stocks, they generally tend to retest the previous supports before they form a major bottom for themselves. So if you're looking at this as a swing trade, then it's a different ballgame altogether. But if you're looking at this as a zone where you're looking to buy or average further, I would suggest wait out for another couple of weeks at least.
Okay, so wait and watch is the call for Godrej Properties. Kunal, next question is also coming from for you, and this is from our viewer Soumya, who's writing to us from Bangalore. She has 104 shares of Rites at an average price of 376 rupees. She's asking, should she hold on to the stock or sell it off? And if you suggest to hold on to it, what are the kind of price levels that we can see on the upside?
Yeah, I would suggest to hold on to the stock as of now, because what happened is over the last few weeks we've seen some heightened volume action coming out for Rites. So the previous I think a week or a couple of weeks back, there was this high volume candlestick pattern for Rites. The stock moved from 265 to almost 300 in a matter of I think 1 or 2 trading sessions. Post that, of course, the stock has fallen back again to the 265 mark. But I believe that the more volume patterns start to look encouraging for the stock, you might eventually see the stock forming a bottom and then starting off an uptrend. So in that anticipation, I would suggest a hold.
Alright, then that's a whole recommendation as far as Rites is concerned. But time for a very quick breather on the show. When we come back, we'll continue taking all of your stock related queries. So don't go anywhere.
In association with SBI, be scam safe.
टिप चाहिए
Because we do have Yashri Bhattji writing to us from Vadodara, wants to know about a couple of these banking counters. Now, Bank of India at a buy price of 81 rupees, Union Bank as well, buy price 92 rupees, 400 shares is what Yashri is holding on to. So what do you make of these two counters then?
See, I think since you bought at lower levels, the stock prices have had a fair share of a major uptrend, and now they've come back closer to your cost price. I would suggest that you can continue to hold on to these names. Now, there would probably come a point where these stocks would reconfirm an uptrend or a breakout for themselves. That, say, potentially if this happens in the next 3 months or 6 months, that could be a point where you may look to start averaging out, because you want your average to be closer to the the lower points of the price trends, and with a higher degree of confirmation that the stock price trends have reversed for a long-term time scale. So I'm assuming that you're a long-term investor and you've been holding on to these stocks for a long period of time. I would suggest continue to do that. But then, as I said, in case or whenever the stock gets into a turnaround mode, or the entire sector gets into a turnaround mode, that could be a point where you should look to average further.
Okay, so that's the take on Union Bank. Gaurang, coming to you. Next stock query coming in from our viewer Ignatius, writing to us about AB Capital. He holds 70 shares at an average price of roughly 212 rupees per share. He's asking, should he add more at these levels for good profit in the long term? For 2 to 3 years is his time frame. Good profit, I don't know. We will have to just imagine what the good number is over here. According to you, what is the kind of profit that this stock can generate, and how is that going to reflect on the stock price? What could be a good level to watch out for when it comes to AB Capital? Because today we have a very bullish note coming in. Stock is also doing rather well.
Well, so when you really don't want to put a number on what kind of expectation you have from your investments in stock market, I think good profit is the normal terminology that a lot of people use. So again, it depends upon every individual. But let me comment on the sector, since we don't have a specific coverage on AB Capital. I think each and every entity relatively strong with good management backing, which is associated with the Indian stock markets. Now, be it a platform provider, be it a service provider, be it an entity which is an intermediary, or be it an asset management company. If we expect that the Indian stock market is going to do well for the next 3 years, 5 years, or maybe more, then all these strong entities with great managements will definitely do well.
So that's the take as far as AB Capital then is concerned. That's what Gaurang then had to say. Kunal, I'm going to come back to you because Dean Sequeira is also writing to us from Goa, wants to know specifically from you what you think about Titan from a 1 to 2 year time span as well. Do you think this particular stock is dazzling when compared to its peers? What do you think of this one?
Yeah, it should, and I think the stock has had its fair share of correction. Now the stock is one of the strongest so far, the stronger charts from the large cap arena, because over the last 2 months or so, the stock has managed to come back into a recovery mode. It's on the verge of a breakout of its 200 moving average. Gold as an asset class has started to look attractive, at least in terms of rupee terms. We've seen gold coming back or edging towards a breakout of the previous size of 80,000 odd levels. So I think on that front, I would suggest that Titan could be a good bet for the next 1 to 2 years.
Okay, looking good on the charts for at least 1 to 2 years. A couple of years is what Titan's looking good on the charts for Kunal. But on that note, Kunal and Gaurang, thank you so much for joining us. Viewers, that was the last query we could manage to address on the show. But keep writing to us on the WhatsApp number that's flashing on top of your screen, and we'll be addressing all of these queries tomorrow and for the rest of the week as well. On that note, we'll wrap it up on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now, Markets at Noon. Up next.
You